lost my mother, what will I be? Will I be pretty? Will I be rich? Here's what she said to me. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera. What will be, will be. Hello, good people. Welcome to another episode of In All Honesty podcast. Thank you for being here and waiting for me for weeks over after promising the next episode just the week after the last one. Well, better late than never, right? So I am so glad to be here with a new episode. And in the last episode, I promised you that I'll be talking about my journey in Nairobi. And after a while, also just trying to figure out how to beef up that content, I learned that I want to tell you how that experience built me into the person that I am right now, which is someone who functions optimally when they're by themselves, and how solitude has become a very huge part of my life. So can we just get started? So how did I come to Nairobi? So here's the thing, the long short of it. I got a job, a sales and marketing job. No, not a sales and marketing. By the way, sales and marketing are two very different things. Can you people stop putting them together? If you're hiring a salesperson, hire a salesperson. A marketing person cannot sell. A salesperson cannot market. It's hard, okay? So I got a sales job. So basically I was working for a certain phone company. I was selling phones, and I was stationed at a big outlet. You know, it's a service provider. And yeah, this job, I got it before I finished school. So basically I got the job and then went back to graduate while I was at this place of work. And let me tell you, that place was toxic. Like, there's toxic, and then there's that place where I worked. It was really, really toxic. So I was basically grappling with so much suicidal thoughts every single day. I was just like, if I could end it, I wouldn't have to report to this place tomorrow for work again. And just after getting my job, I've always wanted to move out of home. Home was very heavy for me. I was the kind of person who worked a lot at home, or rather was worked. So I really wanted to be in a place where I can come back and just like chill. I wanted to get away from all the planning, all the taking care of people, I didn't want to get back home and think, what are people eating? I didn't want to sit on a couch and think, now who'll wash those dishes the way it's cold right now? I didn't want to think, oh, tomorrow I need to wake up at 4 so I can make breakfast. I just didn't want to think about any of that anymore. It's not a bad thing. These are just the basic things that you do in the house. But basically why I wanted to move out is just so I could exist without any expectation. So that was my biggest reason for moving out of my parents' home. So I got this sales job. 2 months in, I moved into my car, small bed sitter, and life began. So I'm working at this place, I'm going back, but at least one thing was for sure, I was really happy and peaceful that I had a place of my own, even if work was as stressful as it was. So this place gets more toxic and more toxic by the day. And there's this one day I wake up and I'm just like, So I've already had rumors of people who've been frustrated before. So I've already had rumors, and I saw how people got frustrated when they are trying to resign. So I said to myself, you people do not know me. So I sat quietly. I was assigned to another shop actually after a while, because there was so many politics. I didn't know that what I was doing at the time, I didn't know was activism, but I was basically just standing up for the things that I believed in. We were being told things like, come to Nairobi for training, but they don't want to talk about how we'll be cared for in Nairobi. I don't know Nairobi. I've never been to Nairobi. So I'm supposed to come here. I'm supposed to sleep somewhere, eat something for a couple of days, and you don't want to talk about the compensation that you'll give me to facilitate all that. So I remember I didn't go for two of the trainings, and I was just like, what is the situation of being taken care of once I get to that city first? So they were viewing this as tough-headedness, and they didn't like it, but I didn't know me. I'm just the kind of person who continues to work in oblivion. I don't know why my questions would offend someone. When it comes to work, my work was thoroughly done. I had the best skills. I was really thorough. Anyone who's worked with me can agree to me being very efficient. So this place got toxic and toxic. So there's this 1 month where I was just like, I'm going to wait for this salary. And once it kicks in, I'm out of here. I'm not giving anyone notice. I'm not resigning. I'm just walking out. So my salary, I look at I think I was just like I was just chilling in the shop. And then I decided to just check, I don't know, a hunch. I got a hunch and I decided to check my account balance, my bank account balance. And it showed the salary had come in. And I just picked my bag. I told this person, the other people who are in the shop, I just told one of them, nimeenda lunch. I'm out for lunch. So I grabbed my bag and I went for lunch and I never came back. So that is how I quit my job. There were calls and calls following up and just asking me, where have you gone? Return our phone. Because they gave me a phone to work with. And I was just like, you people were so freaking toxic. You really want to follow up with me to give you back a phone? What are you going to even use it for? And then I later learned that actually the phones that were given to workers, they belonged to the workers. Once you're given the phone, like, you can go with it. So what was happening is that the supervisors would actually would want you to give back the phone, and then they'd sell them in the black market. So yeah, it was good that I decided to just be all gangster and go away with my phone. And I didn't want to meet any of them either, because then I'd have to answer questions. I'd have to be like, why am I quitting? Where am I headed to? And I just didn't want to answer any of those things. And at the time, there was a lot of pressure also, like at home. People my mom started questioning, why would you quit a job? And then word got to my relatives and friends of my parents, and it was just, how dare you quit such a big company? Do you know how your level of growth would have been immense there? And at the time, I can't even speak, because these people do not know that I'm trying to unalive myself at this point when they're trying to talk to me, okay? So it got really, really toxic, and I left. And one day I woke up in the middle of the night. I remember it was 1 a.m. I'd woken up to just pee normally. Yeah, in case you're wondering, yes, I do pee at night. A lot of people don't. I pee a couple of times in the night. So I woke up to pee as usual. But when I was peeing, I was just like, maybe I don't want to live in this town anymore, because I've grown up my whole life in Eldoret. And yeah, so while I was peeing, I decided to shower, pack a backpack, and I called the taxi. There's a taxi guy who used to take us out to the clubs. So I called him up, and he was still at work, and I asked him to drop me off at the shuttle offices. So I went to the shuttle offices, booked a ticket, and started coming to Nairobi. So I got to Nairobi at 8 a.m. in the morning. Right about 8 a.m. So I called a friend of mine. Oh my goodness, I will be forever grateful to this person, because they hosted me for 2 weeks in Nairobi without any complaints. And I called them without any notice. Okay, well, when I was leaving Nairobi, I called and asked, can I stay at your place for just a little bit while I'm looking for a house? And they were like, cool, they were easy. So I stayed at my friend's house for 2 weeks looking for a house, not a job, just looking for a house. So a lot of people referred me places here and there. I looked for a house. He's the only person who knew I was in Nairobi. He's the only person who knew I was looking for a house. He's the only person who knew I was moving to Nairobi. So I got a house finally. The whole idea of getting a house in Nairobi was even funny because a lot of people were just like, all of the things you're looking for, I don't think you'll find in Nairobi. I was looking for greenery. I wanted to be surrounded by greenery. I also wanted to have water constantly. So everyone who referred me to places to go look for houses would tell me, but you should know, Nairobi, we don't get water throughout. So you should learn to have water like 3 times a week or 2 times a week. And I just thought to myself, hell no, I use water too much. And sometimes I don't even need to be using it. I just need to know when I open my tap, there's going to be water. Okay. Water is the most basic thing. I don't know how Nairobians have normalized not having water. So I looked and looked and looked. And all these people who are referring me, I think, were conversant with Nairobi. And so they referred me to places where they thought I'd get like cheap housing and better housing. And since they were Nairobians, they really didn't like the remote areas of Nairobi. So where I finally got a house, I got a house off Facebook. There was someone who's just like put up a post. And they're like, there's these new houses in this new place. So I call up the person who had a house, who had put up the post, and it's a nice lady. And I tell her I'm very new in Nairobi, so just tell me where I can, just give me directions from the CBD. And she says, just come to the CBD, I'll take you myself to the house. Yo, me, I'm telling you, my luck doesn't run out because, yo, you've had so many cases of people being conned, people being maimed in Nairobi. And for me, I actually went and met this lady, and she actually drove me to the houses. I liked them. I paid for the house. I was like, I'm coming back next week, okay? I'm going to pick my things in Eldoret. So my friends ask me, where did you get a house? My friend asks me where I got a house. I tell him it was on Wayakiwe, and he was like, Ushago. No one wanted to live on Wayakiwe at that time. And I wasn't even living in Wayakiwe, like I wasn't even living all the way up in Kino. I got a house at Mountain View. But people were just like, do you Peter ABC? Aye, that's Ushago. Do you Peter? Ah, that's Limuru. So anyway, I just decided, but it's the one place where I got greenery. Literally outside my house, I would look into a forest that I later learned was like a big forest that on the other side you'd come out on the other side of Kawangware now. I did not know that at the time. Yeah, just got in a house. It was a massive forest. There was a river in front of the house. It's downhill. There's water throughout, and I got them while they were just getting finished. So I enjoyed water in that place for close to 6 months. Yeah, so because they hadn't installed meters, we didn't even electricity I used for free because they hadn't installed a lot of things. So it was a good deal. Beginning in Nairobi, it was a good deal. And I was glad that I had money from my previous employer. So it's that salary that got me this house. So I paid my rent, deposit, and then I told them, finish the house, I'm coming back next week. So then I go back to Eldoret. I get to Eldoret. There's two of my friends who are my closest friends at the time, and I told them, okay, I'm moving to Nairobi. I've just come for my things. And I don't think they believed me because one complication brought another complication. And then instead of moving in about 3 to 4 days, I moved in about a week. I think it took me 5 days to get a trailer. And even the person we got, who was a friend to my friend, who offered to move me to Nairobi because they were already owners of a trailer, stole from me. So yeah, so I got to Nairobi without a gas cooker because the trailer guy had stolen the gas cooker from me. I didn't notice when we were offloading things, and I had very few things. It's not like I'd furnished my bedsitter at the time. I had very few things, but then when I'm organizing the house is when I realized, oh wait, I don't have my gas cylinder. And I called this nigga and he's being fishy, and I was just like, okay, no worries, we are here in Nairobi. So I remember I ate I ate soda and mandazi from like a nearby shop. He was a really nice guy. I ate soda and mandazi, or like tea and mandazi for a very long period. That was just like my food. And I'd get by, yeah. And also this money that I have is also diminishing. But then I got a writing gig. So there's this blog that was just starting out, and they wanted people to write lifestyle blog posts for them. So I got that. Some money was coming in. It wasn't a lot of money. And this is how I got into debt. because then I started the entire cycle of taking money from a loan from the bank, using it, borrowing money from someone, repaying the loan limit rises, I take out the loan, return the money to the person who I borrowed it from, and use this added limit that I was given. So that happened until I accumulated a good amount of a loan. Not so now that I look back, at the time it was huge because I didn't even know where I'd begin to get money to pay it. But by the time I was paying back the loan, it had accumulated to around 40,000 Kenyan shillings. So the first gig that came through, there's a girl who's also come through for me multiple times. She's such a sweet soul. So she also referred me to a place where she thought they were hiring. I applied, I got the job. So, let me tell you this story first. So the first place she referred me to, I got hired. This was Samantha's Bridal. Let me tell you, I was there a whole 10 days, and that place was freaking toxic. This CEO would quarrel people, and the people in the office would literally scatter. And it's like, I don't know, it was just ran like, man, that place was super toxic. Man, oh my goodness, I don't know. I've had my fair share of toxicity in like just working in different places. And now what happened is this place, I've worked for a whole 10 days. She was mad about something, called me into the office. She's like, oh, I'm not even talking to you. The drama, can you imagine how dramatic this person was? They called me in their office together with someone else because they're so disgusted by me, they can't talk to me directly. So I'm seated in an office with two other people, and one person is talking to the other person to tell me what they've said because they just don't want to talk to me directly. So the mistake wasn't even mine to begin with. So that's what I explained. I just explained the mistake wasn't mine. I explained that I apologize if there's anything that I might have caused an inconvenience with, which I did not see. And I was just like, okay, cool. So the CEO of Samantha's Bridal tells me to go think about what I've done for 2 weeks and come back and we can continue working. So I just go home and think about what I've done. It was headed to Christmas at the time. So I went home, I cried that day, and I was just like, I know I have no options completely right now, but I'm not going back. I was just like, I know I'm really desperate, but there's levels of disrespect. I'm willing to unalive myself, really. Like, if I live in this world being treated like pure shit, I'd rather just not leave. For me, that made sense. And to date, it still makes sense for me. If I have to get to a point where it completely does not make sense, where I am completely disrespected and I completely have no options, I'd rather leave. I'm sure there's rest, at least. If there's nothing after life, there's surely rest that I am assured of. So, I go, and let me tell you, I start following up on my check because I'm not now supposed to be paid for this 2 weeks. And then I go think about my life for those 2 weeks and then come back in January. So these 2 weeks, I start following up on my check. Oh, she's on holiday. Oh, she's not around. Oh, da 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 da. So this one time, I've even given up on that money, by the way. I'm just like, I was told Nairobi there's con people, so you might work for free. So I have accepted it. So I'm just chilling in my house, and then of course I use Messenger to date. I still have Facebook Messenger. So I see a message and I open the message, and it's the sales lady who didn't even like me. From the time she saw me, she just didn't want me. Yo, what is wrong with people in the corporate industry? Anyway, so she didn't like me, and then I see a message from her on Messenger. I'm just like, now what is this about? I open the message, and guess what? It's the sales lady, not the HR or the one who doubles up as a secretary. No one in the marketing team who I work with. The sales lady is the one who sent me a message on Messenger, Facebook Messenger, guys, to tell me, can you go for your check at 2 p.m.? The offices are closing for Christmas. Messenger. So it was by grace that I actually had checked my messenger. So it's already around noon. I can't get there by 2. So I decide, let me do this. I'll call the HR, the secretary. She was the sweeter one of them, but she was a whole lot of gossip. She would gossip so freaking much. Gosh. Anyway, I was there for 2 weeks and I already picked this. So that's a hell of a gossip. So I call her and she says they're closing their office. So I should call the editor who actually set me up in the first place so that the entire thing happened until I'm being given a break to go think of it was the editor's fault, and he knew it was his fault, and he threw me under the bus in my face like this. It was the first time I ever saw deceit in person. I have heard about it, I've watched it in movies, I've read it in stories. I had never in my life had someone look at me and say, no, I don't remember. No, you did not tell me anything to do with this. And there were witnesses who saw me telling him to edit this and this is the deadline. There were people there who saw me. I felt so. Have you ever questioned your sanity in a moment so much that you are not sure if you have a recollection of that day at all? Yeah, so it's this editor I'm supposed to call. He will be in the office the next day for they're going to shoot something. So I should liaise with him. Whatever time he'll be in the office, I'll find my check on top of the secretary's desk. I'm like, okay, cool. So I call the editor. The editor says I'll be at the office at exactly 10. Make sure you're there at 10. I get to the office at exactly 10. This ninja shows up at, I think, 11:30. We move on regardless. I pick my check. I disappear. I met this guy the other day, so recently, like I think 2 weeks ago or something. And he was just like, hi, Olive, it's been such a long time. I'm like, who the fuck are you talking to? Like, why would people be so pretentious? We're not friends. You know what you did to me. I don't know if you do that to so many people that you've lost count, but we are not buddies. I've not seen you for such a long time. I was just perplexed by how someone can be so insensitive. Anyway, yeah, that was my first experience, like getting a job in Nairobi. The second place I got a job, now this one lasted a while, but let me tell you, Kenyans in corporate are the most stupid people ever. I have never seen people who sacrifice their own people who throw people under the bus as much as Kenyans in corporate. Let me tell you, you're not gonna get a salary raise. You're not gonna get a promotion. Let me just tell you now, if anything, all these things go to everyone but the snitches. All these things go to everyone but the deceitful humans. You know why? Because even the bosses that you want to lick their asses, even them, they know if you're not loyal to your own people, how can they trust you? So your hammer is gonna fall. Your hammer is going to fall very soon. I'm telling you now. If you're the snitch, if you're the gossip, if you're the person who sets up people, frames people, throws people under the bus in the corporate world, just know you're the boss's pet. You're the one who's going to tell every people in authority the secrets that people at your level are discussing. Trust me, you are not trusted by anyone, because I know if I saw you stab your friend in the back, what makes you think I'll turn my back? What makes you think? Anyway, so yeah, there I also dealt with a whole bunch of Kenyans who were just like trying to destroy you completely for no reason. But then imagine you've come to work, your work does not relate to theirs. Like Wakenya, what is your problem? Like, just explain to me. Anyway, this place I worked, and here I had a goal. I was like, I will try and keep this job as long as I can so I can just pay back my debt. So I was trying to clear the debt that I had in the bank so that in case anything happens again, at least I'm on a clean slate. So I managed to clear my debt. I got my certificate of clearance from Metropole. Yes, I was in CRB actually at some point. I got my certificate of clearance, and I think a week or so after that, just quit that job. I was just like, toodles. So after I've gone, from there I worked at different other places. Oh, from there I moved to another, now a retailer store. And yeah, same. There's just like toxicity, but here at least I had a senior role, and I had a senior role by accident because I came in as the social media manager, and then the marketing manager was so frustrated. She woke up one day when I had a project where even me, I've seen things. So there's this girl who's now an influencer actually. So we had a project with her, and it had been planned out. So I wake up in the morning, I'm reporting to the office. I'm supposed to do other things in other malls, and my boss calls me and she's like, Olive, I'm headed to the airport. I'm headed to China. I'm done. I'm like, what do you mean you're done? She says, I'm done. Check with the general manager. I left him a gift for you. I really love you, baby girl, but me, I'm gone. She was a beautiful soul. So that's how I was left with a whole marketing department in my hands, and I had to learn everything from scratch. But didn't I? Didn't I ace it? So I went, so the same day, she quit on the same day that this project had been planned. So I had to go and meet the people who we were doing this project with, the lovely influencer, the entire team I worked with on this project were just lovely people. And I don't know whether they didn't pick it up, but at the time I was crashing. I was just like, I don't know what this is. I don't understand shit. I do not know, but I'm just here trying to get by. And yeah, the project was a success. The marketing department didn't fail. I did my job well until I got another opportunity and moved to that opportunity. So, how do I relate my experience in Nairobi to the solitude life that I now thrive in very much? So, the first time when I came to Nairobi, um, I remember my mom called after I'd moved now. My mom called and she was like, I'm here at your house. It's very dark inside. Are you inside? And I'm like, I know, I moved. She asked, where did you move to? I said, I moved to Nairobi. My mom hung up. I didn't hear from my mom again. It's my dad who now called, I think a week later. But my dad is like really, really easy. I don't know if there's anything that ever phases this man. So my dad calls and he's just like, oh, I hear now you're a city girl. Okay, you work hard. I'll send your sisters there to work hard with you, to see how the city is. And I was just like, okay, cool. And life went on. But in this period when I had moved to Nairobi, there was so much animosity with family and with people who I had known all my life. Growing up in a small town and in a town where everyone knows everyone, word goes around. And usually at the time, um, I think I could be the first girl who's moved out into her own home in my family, because that's not normal, especially in the Christian setup. It's not okay for a woman to move by herself unless like work requires her to be somewhere or studies require her to be somewhere. But a woman does not just move out of her own volition into a house that has no man. So rumors went round and rumors went round. And so sometimes when I'd go back to Eldoret, I could feel the stares. I could feel the unspoken when I was probably meeting people that I knew from childhood, from my teenage years. There was a lot of animosity. And so at the time, I remember so it's my sisters who used to feed me tea, my two younger sisters. They're the ones who used to feed me tea. And they tell me, oh, by the way, Nani has been banned from seeing you. Oh, Sijui, Nani has been told not to talk to you. Oh, Sijui. Yeah, so at the time, I felt very disconnected from anyone. At the time, I had no one. Like I felt like I know I've been alone my whole life, but at that point I knew I was alone. Like I knew I I use the analogy that if I dropped dead in my house, it would probably take a month or so for someone to realize I went missing. I had no one at that point, and the people, I you can't even say like I would reach out to like my friends or the people who, like the person who hosted me, the person who referred me to some jobs. Even they were also going through their processes, because sometimes you talk to them and just listen to what they're going through and you're just like, yo, hey. So everyone was going, my age mates are going through it. I'm also here. I mean, they can't be, they're not, just the same way they can't rely on me, I can't rely on them. We're both on the same boat, you know? So at the time, there was just no one. There was just no one. The idea, I remember that a friend of my mom said, this I've said even in previous podcasts, a friend of my mom said, you will come back crawling on your knees in this Eldoret. And I remember that was the one thing that kept me going. I was like, in this Nairobi, I will die before I crawl on my knees back to Eldoret. I will die before I do that. So I think just that process of being alone, completely alone in the world. Like, have you ever sat down and felt void, like nothing, like vacuum, nothing? That's what I remember feeling. And from that point on, I realized I only have myself. I only have myself. I am responsible for myself. Whatever happens to me is I'm the only one who can blame for anything happening to me. And from that point, I just started to customize my life and to live my life as if there's no one else, right? And so I did, up to date, and I lived a very peaceful life. And I think the disconnection, it's easy for me. It's just very easy for me. A lot of people complain, oh, you don't keep in touch, oh, da da da. It's because I literally do not think of you until I see your call, until I see you on social media, until I see, I don't know, I literally just never ever think of people. And probably my brain was programmed like that for that period of time. Probably it was very traumatic to realize that I had to set up myself for soft landings whenever people didn't show, whenever people disappointed, whenever people threatened to attack. And so I can see how moving to the city toughened me up, but it toughened me a whole lot than I ever thought it would. And so the loneliness at the beginning, I won't call it loneliness. Yeah, there was a time it was lonely, but the loneliness in the beginning was sad. It was just like, oh, I have no one. Oh, I am ugly. Oh, you know. But with time, I think after a heartbreak, of course, I had to be jump started. After a heartbreak, I think that's when I just thought to myself, baby girl, you cannot put your trust on people. Even people who kissed your forehead and said, whenever it will get thick, I will be here. They left when it wasn't even thick, it was still thin. So yeah, maybe it's that trigger that pushed me into the space that I am, where I was just like, now you have to be soft on yourself. Be the person that you want other people to be to you. Like if you want cuddles, give yourself that. If you want softness, give yourself that. What do you aspire to feel like when you wake up in the morning? Work towards that. And so the solitude just grew into a very healthy, beautiful space where I just became very happy, very comfortable, in fact, quite optimal in when I am by myself. So yeah, that's how I grew to just be by myself. It's really, really fun. I sometimes I even like go, even things I have bought when I'm with people, sometimes I just get mad later on. I'm just like, why did I buy this? Yeah, when I'm with people, I just don't function as well as when I'm by myself. Like When I'm by myself, there's systems, there's a whole organization chat, like I know what should be done, how it should be done. Like, yeah, I just thrive a lot when I'm by myself. And I think that experience of moving to the city and having to toughen up and having to realize that there's no one else, no one's coming to rescue you, I think it really helped with just being by yourself, finding things that you want within yourself. And for me, finding happiness within myself, finding love within myself has been the greatest achievement of all time. Like, I find it so beautiful that right now I don't feel any negative energy when someone does something. As in, back a few years ago, it would crush me. I would have to think about, what did this person think? But right now it's just like, okay, that's them. Probably they didn't like me, and that's okay. And you move, right? So that's the whole story of moving to the city of Nairobi. I I have not been Caribishu at Nairobi. Yeah, I haven't had my phone stolen. I haven't had my, but every time I say that, I just know that saying that out loud is usually the trigger for having those things done to you. But anyway, yes, my stay in Nairobi, I have been privileged enough to not. At the time, I thought I was struggling very, very much. I was struggling a lot. But right now, I look back and I realize my experience had a little privilege to it. Like things like, yes, I could come to Nairobi and I could afford a house off the bat. That was not, for some people, that's not the story. You have to come, sleep outside for a bit, sleep at people's houses, for a bit, couch surf here and there. But for me, it was just, I look back now and I realize how much privilege my experience had access to. And I'm grateful. I really am. Like, I found ways, like, even getting these jobs, I feel extremely privileged because there are people who are looking for these jobs and they're not getting them. So me having to just like have jobs here, they are like, I've literally worked in so many places. And it's like, um, I cannot sit here and tell people there's a formula to getting these jobs. Honestly, I think there was an aspect of likability for me with the people who were hiring. I guess that's it. Because I honestly cannot explain these jobs I've gone to and gotten without any experience. I ran a whole marketing department without that kind of experience just because it was dropped on me. So, such things, I pay them to luck. I can't say it's something that I did by myself to earn it, but what I am sure of is I never fumbled it. When these opportunities came, I did not fumble it. So, as much as it was luck, I also did not take advantage that I am lucky, I'm getting all those good things. So, I truly and I'm honestly very grateful for my experience. I am honestly very grateful for the space that I am in my life right now as we speak. I am the happiest I have ever been. In all honesty, I am the happiest I've ever been. Ever. Ever. And I say a lot of things in retrospect make sense, and it even relates to the song I was singing earlier. Que sera, I think it means whatever will be, will be. So the future is not for us to see. It will come, but we cannot anticipate, we cannot always plan for it. And yeah, for me, I will say it's a lot of luck. But also, when that luck comes hitting, I don't sleep. Like, I work and I work efficiently, and I hold on to the values that I find valuable to me, like honesty, respect, kindness. Those are very high up there. So, this has been my experience in the city. So far, I'm still adapting to Nairobi culture. A lot of things here are really weird. Like, you don't have a sense of community. Nairobians don't have a sense of community, a sense of kindness. Acts of kindness just here and there, like a greeting. No one greets people in Nairobi. I'm just like, just try and greet someone. Smile a little. I get a lot of warmth and remembrance from just smiling. Like even watches at places remember me just because I said Sasa with a smile. That's all. It changes so many things. But yeah, I'm yet to figure out a lot of things in Nairobi. I'm not saying I'll get used to them. I'm learning them and I'm wondering what this does not make sense, but I'll leave you to it. Some of them I might not adopt them. I've adopted a lot of them. Like when I came into the city, I couldn't eat out at all. I would always do everything and then come back to the house and eat. But right now, it's a task. It's a problem. I do not eat anymore inside the house. So yeah, there's some things I'm adapting here and there. Junk was never a thing. Um, uh, Exercise, I feel like in Eldoret you had to. I went to places. There's just a culture for ni hapa tu. It's just down the road, so we walk everywhere. But in Nairobi, I don't find us walking a lot. So those are some of the things I've adopted here. I don't walk as much. I don't swim as much. I love swimming. I love swimming so much. But in Nairobi, like even just the first swimming pool from where I am seated right now, yani is a problem. It's a distance. Yeah. So there's some things I'm adopting to in the city. There's some things I'll forever be a village girl and just let me be. And with that said, that's my story. Moving to the city, embracing solitude, solitude becoming this beautiful thing that is right now. And until next week. Or next time, let me say next time to be safe. It's been In All Honesty podcast. My fabulous name is Oliver Rao, and bye.